Hello, and welcome to Dual Credit U.S. History B Unit 4. This unit is about the Cold War and Civil Rights Movement. Let's get into it. It's pretty cool stuff, okay? We're going to start off with talking about Lesson 16, which talks about consumerism, conformity, and witch hunts, all right? And now, as you know, when World War II ended, a bomb had been dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And so people were pretty scared and pretty paranoid about nuclear bombs and the power that they had in them because they didn't know what power they had in them. And so immediately when World War II ended, the Cold War started. Okay, we had people that were looking at their neighbors as communists and stuff like that, and it was pretty scary. The Red Scare was a real thing. There was also a second migration that happened where people were moving up from Mexico during this period. And Lesson 17 talks about the Cold War at home and abroad, talks about the Korean War a little bit. The Korean War is really seen as kind of the forgotten war, unless you watch the TV show MASH, which is actually really good. Anyway, so the Korean War was just kind of something that just sort of happened. Then we've got the lesson 18, which is about the Vietnam War. And the Vietnam War caused a lot of problems. And a lot of it was because it was the first televised war. Okay. And so we didn't have like the propaganda that we had during World War II. We had actual live TV of things like the My Lai massacre and stuff like that. Okay. So it was a really, really, really scary time in the United States because there were a lot of people who were very opposed to the Vietnam War. Then lesson 19 talks about the civil rights movement, talks about desegregating baseball, desegregating the military. Guys, this is 100 years after the end of the Civil War, okay? It takes a generation to die out in order to really get rights. And do we still have equal rights with the Black communities? Definitely not. We definitely don't have those rights, okay? Don't think that we do because we definitely don't. All right. Um, so we had Dr. Martin Luther King and his fight for the rights and sit-ins and all of that stuff that went on. And then in lesson 20, we talk about the fights for other people's rights, such as Chicanos, Indians, equal rights in general, just kind of what was going on at this time in American history. Okay, now for the project that you're going to do for this unit is you're going to put together a children's book that talks about the Vietnam War and either the Cold War or the Civil Rights Movement. Okay, I'll go ahead and read this to you. You have been chosen by a publishing company to make a children's book about the Cold War and civil rights, about either the Cold War or the Civil Rights Movement, and also the Vietnam War. So your job is to create a book that educates children about the Cold War or Civil Rights Movement. I'll change that. You must have the following. It must be articulate with correct grammar and spelling, include illustrations of some kind on every page. It can be computer generated. You don't have to be an artist. I'm not an artist, so that's fine. It needs to be historically accurate, and you either need to teach about the Cold War or the Civil Rights Movement, but you definitely need to talk about the Vietnam War, okay? This is what you'll be graded on: a title page, cover page, illustrations, writing and conflict and content, storyline, we're excited, and your product scores out of 30 points. And then this is what you also need to do in order to get the score on your content. You can either talk about the Cold War at home and abroad, the civil rights movement, but you definitely need to talk about the Vietnam War. Okay, so please read through these points on the rubric. And, if you're going to do the Cold War, you need to describe the Korean War, at the beginning and the end, the Cold War, JFK, Kennedy's foreign policy. For the Vietnam War, you need to describe the origins of the Vietnam War, how it unraveled, the counterculture, the Pentagon Papers, War Powers Act, and the Great Society. And for the civil rights movement, you need to describe the desegregation of baseball and the military, Brown versus the Board of Education, sit-ins, freedom riots, turning points, Selma, and the Voting Rights Act. Okay, so please make sure that you have those points in order to get credit. Okay, once again, you need to do the Vietnam War, and then you get to choose between the Cold War or the Civil Rights Movement. All right. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.